Tune in to the Diva Hustle.
Hey, you guys, this is thanks for tuning in to the Diva Hustle Show. Today, our guest is Zariah Banks. She's been married for 12 years. She didn't really learn, it wasn't until she learned about herself and what makes her happy that she was able to fulfill and show up in her relationship and provide her partner's wants and needs and desires. Thank you, Zariah, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Miss Paris.
Oh, you're welcome. So, how did you discover? How did you find out? Was it before you got married? Then you say, "Let me decide and do my journey," or was it while y'all was married?
You know what? That's a great question. I was one of those people. I always had a boyfriend. From age 14 on, I was always in a relationship with someone, and I just never took that time to get to know myself. I mean, it wasn't until I was about 25 or 26 that I was out of a relationship. And from 14 to 26, of course, so many things happen as a woman. You know, you're trying to get to know yourself and know who you are, what you want, what your goals are. And sometimes when you're in relationships where you don't come first and
Right.
you're not, the prime focus, you can lose yourself. And so that's what ended up happening. I was losing myself. And so I said, you know what, let me just take this minute to find out what I want. And so even though I had met my husband at the time, we hadn't started dating. I said, let me just, before I get into this relationship, let me just take some time for me. And that's when I started the self-discovery that I needed to be able to heal, to be happy in my relationship.
And would you say before you start dating, like say, you have some women, they have that gap in between, right? Do you feel like that's the time really to date yourself and to get to know yourself before you go into your next relationship?
Oh yeah, most definitely. That's priceless. That time, that amount of time that you can have to yourself, you may not ever get that time again. Because if you don't have children yet and you're looking to get married and have children, once you get married and you have a spouse, and once you start having your kids and they relying on you for everything, it just gets to a point where it's like there is really not a lot of time left for myself. So let me just get firm in who I am and what I want, what my goals are, and what I want to see happen in my life and in my relationship, and learn my own love language and learn, how to love on me before I get to a point where I'm adding other things into the mix.
And I think that's key. I mean, dating yourself is important. Like, going to take yourself to the movies and pampering yourself, because like you're saying, you're learning your own love language. You're learning about more about you. You're having a lot of alone time, right?
Mhm.
And you're learning new things about yourself. Like, I know me, I'm a moody person, so but I know
I'm a
that.
Libra. I'm a Libra. What are you?
I'm a Virgo.
Oh. Yes, we are moody. Yes, we are.
But during that self-discovery, that self-loving time, you're able to really, connect with yourself.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Yeah, and I think another part of it is just you change, right? So we're thinking, oh, I like this certain way, and I like to do that, and these are my hobbies. But over time, as you get older, the things that you're interested in are going to change as well.
Right.
You're not going to always want to do the same things, and you may not even be looking for the same things in a partner. You may be like, well, I used to want them this way, but now I don't know, the way these life goals is set up, that's not working for me right now. So, you have to really take time to check back in with yourself.
How important is it when you're to get closure from a relationship?
Ooh. I wrote a whole blog on that, zariahlbanks.com.
Okay.
So the blog title was, "Is closure really a thing?"
Okay.
And so it's very controversial. The way that I approached it was controversial. And pretty much I was saying closure in relationships, closure in friendships.
Right.
Because sometimes even in your friendships, you're like, oh, why she do that to me? I can't believe she treated me like this. This is my ride or die. So I sought closure in some of my friendships as well as my relationships. And it just never plays out the way that you think it's going to play out. You're like, I'm going to get my answer and I'm going to ride off in the sunset. I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to live my life. But they never either they haven't really thought about it all like that, so they're not prepared to really give you the answers, that the well thought out answers that you're
Right.
looking for, or they're just doing this. They're blaming you. They're pointing a finger at you, and they haven't really taken accountability and ownership in the role that they played and how things happen. Or the last thing is, maybe you haven't taken accountability. Maybe you spent so much time in victim mode that you haven't really dissected. So what I always say is just examine the reason why you need the closure. Why do you need it? Do you need it to feel better about yourself? Do you need it so you can move on? Do you need it to forgive? Find out why you need it so that you're able to go into it with no expectations. And whatever they say, I'm good with it. If they don't apologize, that's fine. And that's how you really get to the healing part.
I feel like when we as women, we always look for that closure, and some people, if they don't get that closure, they get stuck.
Yes.
You know, because they want to know, they take it as a hit to who they are as a woman, as a you know, and they just sometimes they just can't move on to the next relationship because they're like, it was something I did, but this person is not mature enough to give me the answer.
Right.
So they sit and just, for years, I see people for years just sit and try to find the answer.
Definitely. I've seen it too. I've seen it in myself. I've seen it where if someone had not treated me the way I felt like I should be treated, and then I respond in a toxic way, right? So I respond by retaliating, or I'm gonna get him, you know. And then you take that behavior into the next situation where y'all can be good. You know how it is in the beginning when you kicking it, you fight, y'all get to know each other, you go into the restaurants and all this, and then you get into an argument, and then it's like, you know, you go kind of revert back into that mode where it's like, I'm gonna make him hurt first.
Right.
Those patterns and that type of behavior comes from not taking the time to really, number one, mourn the relationship that's over. Because I feel like any relationship, you need to mourn it. You need to evaluate why things went wrong and what part you played in it. So that you learn, you take a situation, because every failure, you have to fail forward. Everything that fails or doesn't work out the way that it's supposed to, there's something you can take from it. So just take what you need from it. Or maybe they just weren't the right person. They weren't a good match for you. That could be it as well. But you need to learn how to take what you need to take from every single reason, you know, that has occurred. And so that way you're not taking residual hurt, baggage, trauma, right? Drama into that next situation.
Now, I've seen some of these, and I'm sure you saw it in the movies, where people make, okay, well, I want to make my dream guy list, and this is the universe that's going to, by writing down all the qualities that the universe is going to bring them to me. Do you feel like that's something women need to do when they're looking for their significant other?
Have you been on my site? Because you can know all. Okay, so I did write a blog called "Should You Ditch That List?" And what I did was I talked about the list that, and I feel like every woman has that. I don't know a woman that doesn't have a list. I mean, you have to have boundaries, you have to have expectations, you have to have, you know, those things in place. So yes, the list is healthy to have. But what was happening with me was my list was a little bit of a tall order. I mean, it was, if I'm being honest, it was some things on the list that maybe didn't really make or break that person who I needed to be with. And what I learned when I took the list and I compared my list and what I thought I needed and compared it to who I had at the time, he was meeting a lot of the things, and the things that he didn't meet didn't matter. Like, it was like, one of them was like a 4-year degree. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If he doesn't have a 4-year degree, but he's still making more money than me and he can provide for me and my children, what am I sweating about? You know? Or if I have a certain, belief that he should have been raised a certain way, or just whatever it is. So really take a second look at the list and make sure, like, it's not a make or break thing, and that you're not compromising your beliefs and your values, but you're also not, maybe cutting someone out that could really be a true match for you, and really you can make it work with this person, and really not have to settle, but to be able to be happy with that person. You can find happiness anywhere that you bring your heart to. You can find the happiness. So it's just a matter of just finding a way to be able to say, okay, these are my deal breakers. So this ain't going nowhere. And maybe these I can bend a little bit. Maybe these are more materialistic, or they're more, what my mama and daddy had. So maybe that's not really applying right now. And just take each one and just revisit and make sure it's what you really want.
I think now I feel like sometimes we as women, because we like, even I congratulate you on your marriage, 12 years, black love is excellent. But I feel like we as women, we don't see enough of it, so we don't know what it looked like.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think that a lot of the times what ends up happening is when you come from a home where it's a single parent home, or you raised by your grandparents or auntie, or you know how it is with the village, everybody pitch in and raise. And when things haven't been modeled for you in the home, sometimes we idealize things and we make it, like a fairy tale princess situation where it's like he got to be this and he got to be that, and your average man is not going to necessarily have those qualities. Or I want my relationship to be this, and the minute it's not that, I'm gone.
Right.
We have to really take a look at our situation that we're in right now and what our immediate needs are. Is he meeting those needs?
Okay.
Is he okay? I need somebody I can trust. That's number one.
Right.
Period. If I can't trust you, it's a wrap. I need to be able to communicate with you because I like to talk. So if you don't want to hear it, that's going to be a problem because I like to talk. The other thing is I need somebody who I know is going to be a ride or die.
Right.
And so you ride with me when I'm right, and you ride with me when I'm wrong. Right. That's important to me because Libras love loyalty, and loyalty is a firm, like hard, like that's a boundary for me. It has to be a loyalty aspect where I know you're not out here talking about me like a dog behind my back when your boys is, you want to vent. No, you keeping this in here. Okay. So when you think about those things, sometimes those are more important than the salary, or even if it's a belief system. Right. Because I know people who have converted. I know people who have, really. Right. So it's just, you really have to figure out what those things are for you, what those make or breaks are, and then just kind of build from that. Sometimes it's not necessarily that important when you really look at the grand scheme of things.
Then let's talk about, I know you said meeting the needs, right? So you have some young ladies where they're like, instantly, they got the 90-day rule, and then it's about the sex, and then, as they get comfortable in the relationship, the sex falls off.
Yeah.
I mean, how important it is, even being on the same sex level is important in a relationship.
So when we say the same sex level, are we saying how frequently you want it? Or,
yes.
Okay. Ooh, yeah, that's important. That's important. And I think a lot of the times what happens as women, and it's so hard, but I think what happens is when in the beginning, when the passion is there and it's hot and it's heavy and it's frequent.
Right.
And then over time, I don't want to say the passion fizzles out, but it does. Sometimes it can be ebbs and flows. And when you get to that point where you reach that plateau, and so it's like, okay, it happened this many times a day or a week or whatever, and now it's more like this. Don't ever do something that you don't plan to maintain. So if you started the relationship like that, and then now you're tired or things have kind of gotten in the way, but that's how you started it, and he still wants it to be like that, and you're like, no, I'm tired and that's too much, and it has to be a conversation. Right. It has to be, where you're hearing him out, but you're also explaining to him, well, look, in the beginning it was whatever. Life has kicked in. We out the honeymoon phase, and what I can tell you is I can do 3 times a week, or I can do, and just meet in the middle where you guys can have a conversation about it. But what can't happen is withdrawing from sex because of, I'm going to use it to punish you, right, or I'm going to use it to manipulate you, or I'm going to use it to get what I want. When you start using sex as a weapon or as a way to get back at someone, that's when it starts to become toxic. Yeah. If you're tired, you're tired. If you got a headache, you got a headache. But really what I would suggest is just meeting them halfway. So if you have to say no this time, make sure the next time is a yes. and so that way there's no turbulence. But yeah, I don't think women are ever gonna. Now they told me when you hit 40. Now I'm 41. And I don't think it's ever gonna be matched to a man. I don't see it happening.
I don't see it either. I see even now, and I know why a lot of older women date younger men, because I feel like the younger men is at their level. You know what I mean?
Right. When you hit a peak, even when you hit a peak, it's still like, bruh. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not a machine. I'm fine.
Right.
You're fine. We're gonna be okay. So I think, compromise. You maybe even scheduling. And I know that don't sound sexy, but sometimes you do have to say, okay, well, look, I'm gonna give you 3 nights. One of them could be Saturday, okay? Maybe a hump day, and then this day, and then like, okay, we're gonna have at least these 3 days. And if something jumps off in between, great. But these are our 3 days that we're gonna this going down. Right. And can we agree on that? Yes, that's fine. Okay, great. And that way you're able to compromise. But just saying no and no, I don't feel like it, and using it as a way to, manipulate, can't do that.
And also, like, when you're dating, I feel like when you're dating, you should always have, like you saying, you schedule the sex, but I feel like also it should be a day where you and your spouse can sit down, and y'all just talk. And tell me how important that is in a relationship, where y'all just have like a day where y'all go, and be able to talk about whatever you might have, issues y'all might have in a relationship.
I agree. Yes. Very. That's more important than sex. To me, it's more important than sex to have emotional intimacy, which is trust, communication, vulnerability. Like you mentioned, being able to talk to one another about anything. If I have an issue or a problem, I can come to you. I don't have to be tiptoeing around or, I'm gonna wait till the pillow talk because he's gonna bite my head off. No, you should be able to come to him with anything you need. Sometimes what we do is we turn up because we both like to watch TV. I have 2 kids and, we tired. So we put them down, wrestle them to the bed, and then I get a glass of wine and he'll have a bowl of cereal. We'll sit and we'll watch TV and then we'll go to bed. Okay. What I do a couple of nights a week is just like, let's first play Scrabble. Okay. I love mental stimulation. That gets me in the mood because it's nothing like a strong, smart Black man to me. Right. So when we do the Scrabble and it's you got a 10-letter word. Wait a minute. How did it go down? Like, so you have the ability to spend the quality time, like taking a walk after dinner or, playing a board game, playing cards, or just sitting talking about your day, just having a glass of wine and talking on the couch. Like, what was your favorite part of the day today? Or what's the best thing that happened to you today? Those things can really help you build that foundation so that when the sex happens, it's more natural than a calendar, a Wednesday hump day, or, it's just happening because you built that, you built that intimacy throughout the day.
That is true. Now, and I, like I said, I feel like the check-in is always good in a relationship. I know my previous relationships, when we went to a counselor one time and it was like, pick a day out a week and it would be like a Sunday. Mm-hmm. And that was our day to sit down and we would talk about whatever might have happened during the week, or somebody did something that, I didn't like or he didn't like. It was our time where it was, like you said, a non-judgment zone where you can be able to really express yourself.
2 things you said that really, really, really hit. The number 1 was the check-in. Mm-hmm. Because what happens? We live day to day. We doing our thing. We're not asking, like, are you happy? Like, am I making you happy? Am I doing everything right? Are you fulfilled? What can I do better? What would you like to see more of? We're not doing that. No. And that's critical. It's like, you go to school, you get a progress report, a report card, you get all those things because that's telling you along the way how you're doing. But if you just assuming you're doing great and you're really not, you thinking you getting an A, you really getting an F, that's a problem, right? Mm-hmm. So the check-in is key. So that was a wonderful point. And then the second thing you mentioned was just kind of taking the time to wind down and talk about the things. But you said if he or she did something, and then I want to talk about it. So they'll do something to piss you off and then you'll wait until your designated time. You don't go off right there.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
You're gonna get it on Sunday night. I'm saving this. I'm writing this down.
I'm writing this down right in my book. Like, you picked me up late from work the other day. All right.
You was 10 minutes late. But that's good because then you give yourself enough time to kind of process it. Because what happens when we retaliate, we're like, oh, you made me so mad when you did that. A lot of the times those reactions are not healthy reactions. But if you really take the time to really think about it, like I'm gonna bring it up to him and I'm gonna let him, or her defend themselves and give me like what they were thinking. It's in a calm environment where you guys are both anticipating having a conversation. So it's nothing but good is gonna come from that. Right. They're not gonna be defensive. The emotions aren't gonna be on high. And you'll just be able to talk about it and just be honest with one another. So that's good. I like that.
Thank you. So I know you. So you have the book. You have a book that you're releasing soon. What's the title of it?
It's called Beauty Be Healed.
Okay.
And it is about a young lady she's experienced some emotional trauma from her childhood, and she's also due to her childhood trauma, she is a people pleaser, and she's also an empath. And so an empath is someone who really internalizes other people's feelings. They're like to please other people. And sometimes what happens is because they're a people pleaser, the energy that they give out attracts narcissists, which tend to be people that use and take. So the givers attract the takers, and then there's this perfect toxic relationship, and it's a cycle. So she was attracting people like that due to her childhood trauma. And fear of abandonment. And then she ended up just jumping out of that situation, finally standing up for herself. And then she ends up meeting the one.
Oh, wow.
But guess what? She's damaged and she hasn't taken the time to really work through her stuff. So she wants him and she's holding on to him, but she's not ready for him. So is she going to lose him? Is she going to push him away? What's going to happen?
Right.
But yeah, it's my debut novel. It's my first novel, so I'm excited about it. I've already written the first 2 books in the series. People are telling me it needs a 3rd book, and I'm like, so we'll see about the 3rd one.
I mean, so did you find the writing process? Is it something easy? Does it come natural to you, or how was that being turned into an author and writing the book?
I've been writing since I was 9 years old. I got a poetry book assignment in the 4th grade, and I illustrated it. And I don't know if you remember, because I don't know how old you are, but back in the day, the computer paper used to be green and white stripes, and it would have these little holes on the bottom. So I did the green and white computer paper, and I drew my pictures on it. I wrote my poems out. I drew the little illustrations. I stapled it on the side. Thought I was the coldest. Okay. I've been writing since then. Okay. And so I've written series, young adult series, and all types of stuff when I was, 8 or 9 years old. And I've been writing everything, but never published. Never did it. Just fear is a powerful drug.
Right.
So I never published, and so this is my debut novel. So I'm excited.
I'm excited for you. Now, question: your opinion on Kanye West and Kim Kardashian? Do you feel like that marriage could have been saved?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
I was rooting for them. I really was. I'm one of the few people that I know personally that I like the Kardashians, especially Kim. I think Kim is dope. I think that she's a solid woman. I think that she is a good woman. She's kind-hearted. She's compassionate.
And she's a Libra.
She loves him. Is she?
Yeah, she's a Libra.
Wow. She loved that man. She did. I feel like she tried to make it work. I feel like they just needed to, it just needed to be more communication. Kanye, he seems to be a very conflicted person who, is just dealing with some things and just really needs someone that understands him and can be compassionate. But then also he needs to put the work into, of course, make things happen and to examine what he's dealing with as well. So I think they could get back together, but that's just me. They got all them kids. Come on, y'all. What y'all doing? So I really want them to get back together. What do you think?
I think that I like them together. I don't like when people break up. I'm like you. I was rooting for them. I feel like they made a good team together. They had the kids. And I feel like sometimes she balanced him out, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. So to me, I don't like it, and I don't like what's going on and how it's playing out. So like,
I don't either. So much drama.
yes, yes, and I feel bad for him because he's hurt, and then he has the mental part of it. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's a dangerous cocktail for him.
Yeah, I just don't want him to say or do something that he can't come back from. Because
Right.
that's the other thing that I talk about is all the time. It's just like saying that one extra thing. You know how you say the thing, and it's like, okay, now you on the borderline. You say one more thing, and we gonna have a problem.
Right.
And then it's just like that one extra step that you take to just be like, nah, you ain't hurting enough. I'ma say this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I feel like we feel some kind of satisfaction by feeling like, oh, I'm gonna say this and then they gonna hurt and then they gonna feel like I'm feeling, but you can't take that back.
Right.
And somebody can forgive you and they can say, yeah, it's fine, it's cool, let's move on. They're not gonna forget that.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna forget it. So even when they forgive you, it's still hanging over your head the whole time. And so I like to write blogs that kind of try to get you to understand, like, this is the person you love. You would never want to hurt them. You would never want your words or actions or what you do in retaliation to actually penetrate them to a point where they can't come back from it.
Right. And I think a lot of that comes from, like you saying, hurt people hurt other people.
Yes.
And a lot of times you have people like, even Hollywood, you see that these next day they break up, they with somebody else. I feel like people don't take the time, like you said earlier in the interview, people don't take the time to mourn the relationship. They don't take the time to heal and, before going on. And next thing you know, you see hurt. And then like, even then it's sad because you start seeing a lot of more people, more domestic violence is just going up. Because it's just like, it seems like it's the anger now is turning towards, like, I can't hurt you with my words, so now I have to hurt you physically.
I know. And it's sad. It's so sad. And, to those that are victims, unexpected, of course, victims of domestic violence, my heart goes out to them. Because if you are in a situation like that and you love that person, so you have the soul ties from being sexually active and having a sexual relationship with them, and then you have the emotional ties, and then you have everything in between that kind of brings you to a point where you're like, well, maybe this is the last time, or maybe he won't do it again, and we were in a heat of passion at the time. Those things can happen that make it even more complicated and harder to leave. And I used to be a type of person, like, I'll never understand that mindset of someone staying in those types of situations. But the older you get, and when you think about, okay, this is my deal breaker. So my deal breaker may not be cheating. Right. You might step out on me and I might still stay. So everybody has different things that they, no, this is it, I'm gone. And some people choose to stay and some people choose to leave. Domestic violence, though, I always just pray that people find the strength, because you don't want to, allow that to be a cycle where they feel as though they can continue to do that, because it, it just always ends in a really bad situation. And it touched my family, so I just always pray for people who are in those situations, for sure.
It's unfortunate. And so one more question before you leave. So to single ladies that have given up on finding their true love, what advice would you give them?
I would give them a few words of advice. Number one, like you mentioned before, Paris, you got to date yourself. No one is going to take care of you like you are going to take care of you. So spend some time with yourself, get to know what you really love, so that you can see a mile away. If someone has a personality type or habits or that's a turn off for you, you're gonna know right away. You're gonna be able to not waste your time. I would say also give yourself an expiration date in terms of the dating. So if you're dating someone, I would say anywhere between 6 to 12 months. If you're not feeling that spark and that passion, even if you're not dating anyone else at the time, I would cut it off. I would say, you know what, it's not going in the direction I needed to go in. And I need to open myself up to either the next person that's going to be coming into my life, or I need to go back to dating myself and taking care of myself, because I can do me better than you can do me if you're not fulfilling my needs. So really give yourself some time to say, okay, I think your time is up, and I think I need to go ahead and keep accepting applications. This position is now back open.
Girl, I cut them off in 2 weeks.
I love it. You said forget that 6 months stuff. Yeah, because if it's not working, it's not working. And let's not try to force things into happening that's not meant to happen.
True, that's true. So thanks for joining us. It was a pleasure. I love to have you come back to talk about your book. I would love to read it, and so we can really dig into the more relationship issues. I just feel like even if you have time, a podcast show would be good, because it's key. I mean, I remember I was going to write a book, and I was like, it could be a series. Like, every one of my friends had relationship problems.
You can have a whole collection, couldn't you?
A whole collection.
A couple names and details, and you got a whole series.
But people don't talk about it that much. You know what I mean? And people don't know. Even now with COVID, it's like people don't even know how to date anymore. Like it's this weirdness going on.
It's the COVID situation, and then also the social media makes it awkward, because I've gotten to the point where it was like, I want to take down my social media page because I'm not even hearing from my good friends. They probably just going to my profile to see what I posted, like she's still alive, she good, and not even texting to see if her sister's really okay. So I had to stop posting a lot on social media, so that I notice when my posts are down, the texts are up. But when I'm posting every little thing, they like, oh, she good.
Yeah.
So you really have to, when it comes to dating, you have to have a mindset of, no, we're not going to be in the DMs for too long. We need to move this to a FaceTime or to a phone conversation, and then we build the trust a first date. But like, let's not be on the DMs. Let's get some actual face-to-face time, so I can get to know you, and I'm not shocked on the first date when you show up just on some other stuff.
Yes, I mean, my cousin, she was talking to this guy on the DM for probably 6 months, and I'm like, why he don't call you? Tell him to call you on your phone. Like,
were they in the same city?
Yeah, no, they was in the same state, different cities.
Okay, wow.
But still, I'm like, he could FaceTime you, like he could phone you. The DM is your only way. I was like, he must have a girlfriend.
That's something going on. It's something. Yes, you're right. It's definitely. Trust me, I know all the signs because I've had girlfriends that have. I mean, I can write books on the things that these dudes, they have pulled some. I'm like, for real? Like, she would tell, I'm like, that, no. We have been on double dates. Like, that's my dude. She's like, nah, girl, he ain't your dude no more. We don't like him no more.
Wow.
Like, wow.
It's sad. It's really sad. It's sad.
So that's why I said emotional intimacy, vulnerability, communication, trust. That's got to be the foundation to build relationships. Because if you don't start off with that, and let's be real, sex happens, of course, passion and lust and being attracted to each other. But while you doing that, you also need to be building those blocks of trust and communication. Because without that,
right,
they'll hoodwink you every time.
And I know I watch Married. Do you watch Married at First Sight?
Oh no! Wait. Hold on. Love is Blind. I watched Love is Blind. And no, I have not watched Married at First Sight. I watched Love is Blind. That's the one where they got married too, right?
Yeah.
They got matched and they got married. Yes. So I have not seen. Tell me about Married at First Sight.
You gotta watch it. But what my observing the show, what I noticed is that the couples that wait to consummate their marriage, probably 30 to 60 days, those are the couples that last. Couples that after the marriage, after the wedding day, they go and consummate their marriage.
Right.
You'll find out their relationship is like a roller coaster, up and down, up and down.
You're right.
And you'll see that I think sometimes the sex blinds really getting to know that person.
You're right. You're right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So you got to check it out though.
I will. What? Wait, is that Netflix? Where is that on?
That's on one of them. I got Hulu, so it's on one of them channels.
I got both, so we good. We covered. It's that pandemic. Okay, I got it all.
Yeah, but check it out. It's good. I like this season. I stopped watching it a while, and then I went back and watched it. But I just was like, oh, I see. Okay, this is what's going on. So if they don't have the sex, they last, and if they don't, so. But just let me know what you think.
Okay, it's easier said than done, but yeah, I'm sure. For sure. Thank you so much for sharing your platform with me. I'm so excited. I watched some of your other interviews. I really liked you. So thank you for inviting me, and I would love to come back whenever you
want. Anytime. All right, I'm gonna stop it.
The hustle, it's the hustle show. We motivate.